Hey YouTube, it's Corlash1990, and today I have another Sorcery TCG deck tech. And this deck is a little different than the ones that I have shown in the past because this deck is actually not my deck. This is my girlfriend's deck, which is the main deck I play against pretty much all the time. So the reason why I wanted to show this off is because I think it's important for everyone to know like why I play the cards that I play or why I'm playing the decks that I play. And it comes down to my local meta, right? This is pretty much all I play against. And I think what Sorcery was trying to like encapsulate and show with the casual tabletop gameplay is like all of your decks are built based around like the small group of people that you're playing against all the time, and you end up creating like this little tiny local meta with maybe like your own little band list that you have. Like one of your friends had a deck that was like way too good and it just got boring, and so you like tell that person not play that deck anymore. Like I used to do when I was a kid playing Magic in my best friend's garage, like on the floor in the garage. He had a like a mono red goblin deck that would just slaughter us all the time. So we got to the point where we told him to not play it anymore, unless we like really wanted a true challenge. And I wanted to show everyone, what she's playing, and it kind of will give you a better idea of why I run the cards that I run, or maybe why I have a more casual view on the game, just in general. So we'll go off, start with the avatar first, like always, and then the atlas and the spellbook. And this deck is a 60-40 deck, deck size that will eventually be a thing. So just keep that in mind as well. So the avatar she chose to play is Sorcerer, mainly because it's a very simple but powerful avatar. It's the 20 health, 1 attack, tap, player draws sight, and then tap, draw spell, which gets very good late game. There's not much spice here. It is just bread and butter, just good, all around good avatar. So it's easier for her to keep track of, and she's not a card gamer really. This is kind of the first game that she's really delved into. So keeping things on a more simplistic side is a lot better for her. So for the Atlas, again, it's a mono water deck, so there really isn't a whole lot of strategy or theme. It's just you're running a ton of water sites. List all of the staples: Maelstrom, free tadpoles. This is one of her favorite cards in the game, actually, Island Leviathan. It definitely her favorite site. And I swear, every game she gets at least one of these, even with the larger Atlas. And it always gets animated against me, always. Our games tend to go pretty long, too, like probably at least on average like 12 to 15 turns. So it's getting there. And again, just all of the staple water cards. A lot of them are, they're from Alpha, Beta, and Arthurian Legends, all that stuff. So I'm not really going to go into these because it doesn't really matter. It's almost full play sets of every water site. And I'll just kind of show them off for whatever reason. And then we also have these. She really likes the artwork in them. Again, if you don't want to run these, cut them for something else. But we have a ton of these, and she wanted to utilize them, so here they are. Again, that's Atlas. Very short, sweet, to the point, as it is with water. Nothing super tricky. And now for the spellbook, which is where it gets a little more interesting. So I'll go over all of the minions and all of the non-minions separately. So for her, she really likes big, scary monsters, and just playing all of the big stuff that she can, and then just swarming the table with them. So it's kind of the theme here. I think she has a good spread of cheaper, lower cost things paired with the bigger, scarier stuff. So start off with Great Old one of her favorite cards in the game. That's why she has a foil one in here. And yeah, it's an 8 cost, 16 power, submerge, flood the entire realm. That's pretty much a staple for, I would say, most water decks. We have a Lord of Unland, 4 cost, 3 power, submerge. Other allies occupying Lord Unland's body of water have +1 power, so really, really good with all of the frog token generating that she has in here. Here is a new card from Arthurian Legends that is actually quite good. 5 cost, 5 power, lethal, and stealth. And at the end of your turn, Questing Beast may take a step, so it can move super fast. And it's just a 5 power lethal stealth that your opponent can't really do a whole lot against. So Yeah, this card's very, very good. Got Ruler of Thule, 4 cost, 3 power, charge, and allies can move as if the top and bottom edges of the realm were connected. Other allies occupying sites there have +1 power, so it adds a little more aggressive, mid-gamey kind of a strategy here at the deck. We have this Captain Pirate dude, Baldassar. I think that's how you say that name. But this card's great, and every time she gets it, it's always a pain. But it's a 4 cost, 3 power, and it says whenever the captain attacks a unit or a site, the defending player discards their topmost 3 spells. You may cast each of those spells once this turn, ignoring threshold requirements. So if you don't answer this thing, it's pretty much bad news bears for you. You're going to get your deck shredded, and they're going to be stealing all your stuff from you. It's not a fun time. Just really liked the artwork on Lady of the Lake, and we opened a bunch of these, so we wanted to utilize the ones that we had. I think we opened up like 7 or 8 of these in our boxes. It was kind of nuts. It's a 3 cost, 3 power, which isn't bad. Spellcaster, which is good. She has Submerge. She has this Genesis ability. You may summon a mortal or artifact from your cemetery to Lady of the Lake's location, and if you do, shuffle her into your spellbook. So there are some artifacts we can utilize with this. There are mortals that if they die, she can get them back. So it's just a good little recycle engine here. She also has Nelly Longarms, which after I was utilizing it and all of the nightmarish Pudge Butcher plays I've done on her, she really wanted to have a Nelly Longarms because essentially a Pudge Butcher. It's a 3 cost, 2 power, submerge, tap, shoot a projectile. If it hits a unit, drag it here, and then Nelly may submerge it, which she always will because all of our sites are water. So it's pretty much just an auto kill as long as what she's hooking onto or grabbing onto does not have submerge. Very good card. It's another Arthurian Legends card, the Green Knight. It's a pretty solid card too. 6 cost for 3 power with 7 defense or 7 health, so it swings for 3 and it needs to have 7 or more dealt to it in order to kill it. And it says whenever an enemy minion can attack the Green Knight, it must, so it's like a provoke ability. And then on Deathrite, strike target nearby enemy. So it's just a very aggressive card that can also draw the attention of other things, so that your other stuff can go through, pretty much unscathed. We have this big, scary Hydra that has been the bane of my existence for quite a while as well. A 6 cost, 6 power, and it's immune to non-lethal damage. So it's just particularly difficult to get rid of. Its biggest weakness, though, is that it can be drowned. So just kind of keep that in mind. And she really loves this card, so we have 1 copy of it in here as well, and it's a Nui Undyne. It's very good once a Great Old One comes out, and then this thing is just a 20 power Submerge minion, which is pretty hilarious. But yeah, Submerge, and it has +1 power for each site in her body of water. So combo's really good at Great Old One. That's why she only really runs 1 of them in here. Another one of her favorite cards is Diluvian Kraken. It's an 8 cost, 8 power, Submerge, and you can tap surface to strike each other unit nearby. There's been some very funny plays with a snowball in this card where she plays it and then snowballs this thing into my face, and it's not fun. So yes, this card's a very good endgame bomb. And it's here's another card that she's also annoyed me with quite a bit. It's the Mester Storeworm. It's a 6 cost, 7 power, Submerge, Waterbound. It has this damage grid down here, and it says tap, choose a direction for the Mester Storeworm. Deal lethal damage to each unit at a location in that area of effect. This card I did not really write off as being all that great at first. I don't know, it just didn't click to me. After playing against it one game, I realized how obnoxious this card is. And yeah, it fits the water theme where it wants to make its locations as hospitable as possible because your opponent will eventually have to come get you. And putting up all of these things that just make your opponent regret coming onto your turf, that's exactly what this does, and it fits very well. She's also running 2 copies of probably the coolest water card, if not the coolest card in the game, which is Salmon of Knowledge. 3 cost, 0 power, Submerge, Waterbound. Other units at this site may fish, and they gain the ability to tap, roll a d20, and on a 14 or higher, you banish Salmon of Knowledge to draw 3 spells. Every single game this card is played, it is one of the most enjoyable games of Sorcery that I have ever played. If you're running water, just throw the salmons in there. It's so much fun. Especially when you have a lugbog cat or a river bear or brown bear or whatever trying to fish a salmon out of a river. the theme, it hurts too much not to do. And plus, drawing 3 cards is very good as well. Here's another card she's enjoyed quite a bit as well, which is Adept Illusionist. It's a 2 cost, 2 power, it's a spellcaster. And you can tap, search your hand, cemetery, or spellbook for another Adept Illusionist, then summon it nearby, shuffle if needed. It's just a very good, annoying, harassing card. And the fact that it's spellcaster is pretty neat as well. I have died many a time to Ice Lance being cast off of an Adept Illusionist, so be wary of this card if you're playing against water. Most water decks will probably be running that card. And then the last of like the big beat stick kind of monsters in here is Myriad Formians. It's a 7 cost, 6 power, Burrowing Submerge. This is just an all-around good card. It's a good beat stick that gets around a lot of the generic removal in this game. So, very solid card. And then the rest of the cards are more of the aggro-y, mid-rangey kind of stuff that's going on here. You know, Polar Bears being a very good aggro card for water. 2 cost, 2 power, and it can, you know, pretty much move from the bottom to the top or the top to the bottom. Essentially what Ruler of Thule gives stuff. So, very solid card. 4 copies of Deep Sea Mermaids. It's just the generic card draw minion for water. 3 cost, 1 power, Submerge, Genesis, draw your bottommost spell, which can combo with some stuff in here. What is, with like this, you can kind of fix, you know, the site can kind of fix what's on the bottom of your deck, and then you can still get good value off of getting one of them to the top to draw, and then keeping another good one on the bottom to then draw with Deep Sea Mermaid. There's some good synergies there. She runs 3 copies of the Sea Raider, another very, very annoying card that's similar to the Captain up here. 3 cost, 3 power. Whenever Sea Raiders attacks and kills an enemy, its controller discards their topmost spell, and then you get to cast that card without the threshold requirements. This thing going unanswered is highly annoying. And then to round off the minions, the good old Tufted Turtles, the 3 cost, 2 power, and the first time it would take damage each turn, prevent that damage. Just a very annoying card to deal with. It's really good at protecting your sites, so your opponent can't attack your sites efficiently. They have to double down to pretty much kill this, and then they get through to their sites. It's a really good defensive card, which makes sense for a turtle, I would think. So anyway, that is all the minions that she has. It's a good chunk of them, in fact, and it's pretty much just all of the blue uniques and the big blue staple beat sticks. You know, not really any kind of trickery or shenanigans going on that water could do. It's just, you know, me hit with big stick. That's essentially what's going on here with this deck, which is totally fine. There ain't nothing wrong with that at all. And now the rest of the deck is the non-minion stuff. I will go over the auras and artifacts, and then I'll go over all of the spells. So, starting off is the Great Drowning of Men. Every time she has cast this card, I have lost the game. This card is insanely powerful, and if you're running water, particularly heavy water, get yourself one of these. This card is insane. It's gotten to the point where I'm considering running aura removal in my decks just to answer this card, because I'm kind of tired of losing to it. It's a 7 cost, 4 water threshold. It is an aura. And it says at the start of your turn, destroy affected sites and flood the resulting rubble. Then submerge everything atop them, and then you dispel the Great Drowning of Men. So it goes onto a corner of 4 sites, and it will blow up all 4 sites, which destroys all of your threshold. And then it will submerge, you know, it floods everything, all the rubble, and then it submerges everything there. So if your stuff doesn't have submerge, which most of my stuff that I play doesn't, it'll just kill everything, destroy your thresholds. This card's a huge bomb. And another really good bomb is Atlantean Fate, another blue staple. 5 cost aura. And it says affected non-ordinary sites are flooded. They are water sites, only provide water threshold, and lose all other abilities. And then on Genesis, you submerge all minions and artifacts atop affected sites. So it somewhat does something similar to this, but you'll still be able to gain the mana off of the water sites, where this just destroys threshold, mana, all that stuff. Another, I would say, good staple for water is Flood. She's got 3 of them in here because she wants her body water to be as big as possible, as often as possible. So it's a 4-cost aura, and it says affected sites are flooded. They are water sites, so making that body of water bigger. And then now for the artifacts, we play them because we have them. This, I would say, just get the mixes. The mixes are super good. And like this, I still don't think it warrants the price tag that it currently has. I think it needs to drop a little bit more for it to be a little more justifiable. Definitely pick up a core before picking up a 4 waters. Like, I don't know. This card just does not seem all that great. Like, it's good, don't get me wrong, but it's, if you're planning to use it on the same turn you play it, just like a mix, it will offer roughly the same kind of like discount. 2 for 4, so you're netting 2, 1 for 3, netting 2. This card is like a couple bucks. This thing is like $30 to $40. Foil, it's much more. But yeah, I don't know. We play them because we have them. If you don't have them, just get your mixes. They're cheap and affordable. If you don't have this stuff, don't worry about it. Flush out the numbers of some of the other cards that she's only running 1 or 2 copies of that max out your play sets. Don't think you need these cards to play the game. You don't. You really don't. They're very strong. They're good, but they're not like deck defining in any way, shape, or form. And it's kind of just like an easy thing to add into a deck. And there's not a whole lot of thought involved with this. So again, she's running a lot of big stuff. So she wants her resource generators. The mixes, I would say, definitely pick them up. They're, again, affordable, and they do make it a lot easier to cast stuff like this. And they're not unique. They're elite, so you get 2 of them in here. So, again, if you don't know what they do, it's a 1 cost, and you can sacrifice it, and your next water spell requires no threshold, and is 3 less to cast. Or 4 waters, roughly the same thing, but it works for anything, not just a particular color. There's a mix for all 4 of the attributes, but it makes whatever you're casting no threshold and 4 less. So, yeah, just keep that in mind. You don't need them. Get the mixes because they're cheap, but these 3, don't stress about it. Don't worry about it. Now for the rest of the spell cards in here, there's a lot of spicy stuff in here. So she's got a Plague of Frogs in here. She loves this card. It's a 1 cost, summon 7 frogs. It becomes very relevant why this card is in here in a little bit. It's got the new Arthurian Legends Mesmerism, 4 cost, gain control of target nearby minion. This card is insane, especially if you have like a big old mountain giant out and she just steals it from you. Not fun. We have a 1 Wrath of the Sea. This is a good little endgame finisher as well. 7 cost, flood all sites adjacent to a body of water this turn, and then submerge all minions and artifacts on water. It's good board wipe. Clear the way, and it lets your big old krakens and stuff go in for the kill. For the generic sort of like removal in this deck, let me separate the remaining cards. She has 3 Stormy Seas, 4 cost, choose a water site, submerge all minions and artifacts there. So very just good all-around water removal card. Along with 4 copies of Drown, you submerge any minion or artifact on a water site. So it's our most efficient removal stuff that we have here. And then for the endgame burn spells, we have 4 copies of Ice Lance and 3 copies of Snowball. I have lost many a game to both of these cards, especially Ice Lance. If you're running water, run some Ice Lances and run some cheap spellcasting stuff to be able to just run in and then Ice Lance your opponent off the table when they're on death's door. It's really hard to hide from this card. It is a 3 cost, shoot a projectile, deal 3 damage, then 2 damage, and 1 damage up to 1 unit at each of the first locations along its path. So very, very good. And then finally, one of the coolest and funniest cards in Sorcery as well, which is Snowball. It is a 5 cost magic spell. Shoot a piercing projectile. It picks up all other units along its path and carries them with it. When it stops, units there take damage equal to the number of units in the snowball. So, casting Plague of Frogs, creating 7 minions, and then snowballing all of them into a giant snowball, and then having the snowball just wreak havoc across the realm, doing at least 7 damage to everything in the snowball. You pick up their avatar. This thing says units, so it can pick up avatars and fling them and just do a crap ton of damage. If your opponent has a bunch of units up in your face, like I have had in one game, you can snowball them away from you. Even if it doesn't kill anything there, it will still get all of those units away from you. So it's a good defensive tool. It's a good aggressive tool. It is a solid finisher. If you're running water, I would say run at least a couple snowballs. If not, just run the full play set. This card's insane. This card is it's very, very good. It's thematic, and it's I think it's just a water staple in my opinion. So anyway, that is her deck, and again, just showing off the particular meta that I play against. You know, it really does remind me of when I was a kid playing Magic with the same like 4 or 5 people against the same 4 or 5 decks, and you end up custom tailoring your decks against each other. And then eventually a new set would come out. Someone would get a little frisky and make a new deck and kind of throw everyone's, you know, game plan off. And not, you know, they wouldn't tell them until they would debut the deck and you'd be all excited about it. And that's kind of what I've been doing with her against this deck. And this deck has been pretty resilient. It's handled quite a bit that I've thrown at it. So the Death Speaker deck I have gives it a run for its money. But it's because Death Speaker is insanely good. So anyway, that is the deck, and as I'm knocking everything down and over, as I'm trying to be all OCD and neat, there we go. So if you're curious about the deck list, I'll have it posted in the comments down below from Curiosa, and I will have an invite to my Discord. I have changed it to where it doesn't time out. I didn't even know you can like alter that. I didn't even know that was a thing. Thank you to the individual who brought that to my attention. I have now changed that to where it won't time out. So feel free to join the Discord down below. And there I'll be hosting eventually starting next year, like casual card game tournaments with prizing that I'll create for myself. And it'll all be random prizing. It won't be who does the best gets the most. It'll be like random raffle stuff. And a lot of the prizing, I won't go into a great detail, but I will be altering custom cards to give away as prizing for those casual events that I'm throwing. And then I'm going to start doing giveaways on my channel as well. And the results of those giveaways will be in the Discord. So just keep an eye out for that. And thank you all for being patient with me while I had like a little 2-week hiatus. My personal life it's been incredibly rough. I had a lot of loss in my family this year, normally large amount of loss. So it's been pretty rough. So appreciate all of you for being patient. It means a lot to me. So anyway, stay tuned for the next video, which I'll probably have posted tomorrow. It'll be an Alpha Clash deck tech video on my Kagan the Dragon deck. And until then, enjoy the rest of your day. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll catch you all later. See ya.